Top of the afternoon, top of the afternoon, top of the Sunday afternoon. It's your boy B Jizzle and my girl KELZ with the Intels back with round two. That's right, KELZ. We was so good round one. We're gonna spin the block for positions round two.
Yeah, we had to spin the block.
spinning the block. And definitely we got a familiar guest that's going to be coming on because this year we're going to have special guests every show. That's right, 10 episodes. And we're going to have a very familiar special guest here tonight to kick things off as we break down the position predictions strategy here. Tonight we're talking about BPA, best player available, because a lot of Cowboy fans are saying defense. But then Stephen Jones, who's been in the media recently, KELZ, said, well, unless there's a CD Lamb, like we were going to take defense that year and we took CD, there could be a BPA scenario. So
yeah, I heard a little bit of that as well.
So that's why I wanted to kick this show off here today. So let's bring our special guest onto the show. You know him. I know him. She knows him. Everybody knows him. It's then there's the big three back together again.
Yes.
Oh, look at y'all. Y'all is twinning. Do y'all see this?
It's beautiful, man. I felt like it was a good day. It was a good day for me to be sort of Brian Schottenheimer, since we're talking about like BPA and all these things that we're about to go over. I figured I'd be in coach mode since I'm always in fan mode. It's not going to be good. A good coach. But at least
I feel the shoddy vibes for sure. I feel the shoddy vibes.
Maybe the next episode I'll actually make a shoddy. Since I have the recipe for that, I will make the shoddy.
Make a shoddy. Let's make a shoddy here. We're streaming live on 3 platforms. We're live on Facebook. Shout out to our Green Badge supporters. This episode would not be brought to you without the Green Badge supporters. And for the Patreon supporters here, we are kicking off Position Predictions 2.0. This is the first episode. You need to tune in if you want to win in April in the 2026 Gym Rat of the Year competition. We got 2 months left and we're done with that. But we're also streaming on LinkedIn. Shout out to all of the professionals on LinkedIn and also on YouTube. Shout out to everybody tapping in on YouTube here today. This is a show to help you get ready and understand how the draft process works, because not a lot of people pay attention to the draft. I mean, I remember years ago, I didn't pay attention. I don't even watch college football. But since we kicked it off last year, KELZ, now I'm more in tune with that. And I know you got some heat to bring because you were posting some questions early on BDG that I thought were very valid. But before we do that, I just want to bring this up and get y'all's input on it right quick. Do you know that we are technically 206 days away from the NFL kicking off? And, you know, the 206, in case you didn't know, is the Seattle area code.
Okay. All right.
So, KELZ, you know, you predicted last year that the Cowboys, you know, Jerry was going to the league about the Cowboys versus the Eagles. Can you send a kite to Jerry to make it happen again to come to Seattle on Thursday night?
Well, it wasn't so much of a prediction. That was just some straight up facts. I was like, hey.
Okay. This is intels then. Can you get us some intels on the 206?
So right now, what I do know is that the Cowboys is right now in a potential pick to open up the season, which will be a Thursday game, with the now Super Bowl champions, the Seattle Seahawks. That does not mean that it will happen. So right. Each team, so let's say the opponent teams will put a bid in and everything, and it will just go from there. Last year just didn't happen that way. Jerry just was like, hey, we want to kick off the season with the Eagles, and that's how it happened. So that's what I know right now as far as where it stands. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. It's good. It's good for talk. It's good for chat. I mean, you know, you nailed it with your intel last season, and all things considered, Bob, because that's Tank. And Tank said he can't win no Super Bowl in Dallas, Bob. He'll never win one there. And he went to Seattle and stood on business in year one, Bob. Are you a pro Tank guy? How are you feeling about Tank getting some hardware in Seattle?
Look, I'm usually one of those guys that, like, once you leave the Star, I don't know who you are. And that's really kind of always the way I've always been. I mean, obviously, we're not talking about some of the greatest guys. You know what I mean? Like, I forgave Emmett for his Arizona foible. But we're talking about, for the most part, if you leave, you leave. But the thing about what DeMarcus said on the way out was kind of true. We don't know it to be true, but we knew we knew that he didn't really necessarily want to be back because of the BS that was going on, and he probably saw that it was more of a game.
Yeah, him and Tank. Remember Micah and Tank getting on it on Twitter, and everybody back and forth.
And I don't also think it happens a lot of times. You get players that go to another team. You wind up picking a team that you probably think is going to be a contender at some point. If they turn out to be one, then you look like a genius. But regardless, almost all the time, when you have a person who played for one team for the beginning of their career and they go to another team, they're going to try harder. They're going to do more. They're going to probably do the things they didn't want to do with their other team. So they're going to succeed a little bit more. It's called trying more and trying harder because you want that second contract to be
stick it to Dallas, huh? Stick it to Dallas, right?
I don't think it was
a lot of teams do that.
I don't think it was a stick it to Dallas move. And I'm not going to speak on emotions. I'm speaking from, what I hear, what I know, and all you gotta do is just listen to what's being said behind the words that is actually being spoken.
Oh, of course.
You also have to remember that Tank was not the only one that left and went to Seattle.
He's just the only one that went to, that was.
Yeah, he was the big name, and there was the skirmish with Michael on social after he left and all that.
Not only that, but a lot of people forgot that our assistant defensive coordinator left.
Oh yeah, Aiden Dirty.
Aiden Dirty.
He from the UK. We gonna have a UK on the podcast. Stay tuned.
Yeah, he's the first one that left, and then he took Tank with him. But and this is not to throw any type of whatever on Micah. He is a talented player. I'm not going to take that from him. But on his draft card, I had to pull his draft card back up. There was some issues.
Talking about Micah's?
Micah's, yeah. I had to pull it up. His red flag was his character issues.
Ooh. That's facts, not feelings, right? That was on the card.
That's facts. That was on his draft card. But he is a talented player. I'm not taking that from him. I mean,
the talent outweighs. They obviously said it's more of a risk based on any of the transgressions or shortcomings he may have.
Right. So the coaching staff from the McCarthy era, their contracts ended before Mike McCarthy's did. So that's why you saw a lot of coaches leaving the Star during that period. Like they wasn't even banking on McCarthy to leave. That was like that was a that was just a shock in itself to everybody. But when Aiden Dirty left, he took Tank with him.
Oh yeah.
But it was a lot of issues with Micah Parsons, his demeanor when he was in the building.
Yeah, I mean, clearly it was a rift. There was a rift there, and now you got Stephen A. Smith talking about it, possibly running for office, but that's a whole nother discussion. That's leaving talent, taking talent from Dallas. But on this show, we're going to talk about how Dallas can get talent. And you made this post here a couple of days ago, KELZ. I thought it'd be great to kick it off here today. What needs to be done? Something needs to be done before BPA can work?
Yep.
Let's talk about it.
All right. So I've been checking, so nobody really answered the question in the group. So
yeah, a lot of folks are asleep. Not really everybody's diehard like us three here.
Well, not only that, but it was some off-wall conversations, and I was like, that's not pertaining to the question. But anyway, I wasn't going to, sharp tongue anybody like that.
No, it's all good. But
yeah,
BPA, what needs to be done before BPA? I'm genuinely curious.
So I'm a cliff noted for everybody. In order for a best player available to work is, let's frame it like this. Your draft board shapes up based on the contingency of what you do in the free agent frenzy, which is on
March 11th.
Technically March 11th. Yeah. You can start doing free agent signings as early as March 8th, but they cannot sign any type of contract until March 11th.
Right. That's why they call it free agency frenzy. The door opens
Yeah.
up. That is the signaling the first year of the official season.
Exactly. So that's how BPA works. It's based on what you do in free agency. That's going to shape how your draft board is going to look. So if we go into free agency and we hit on a veteran linebacker, a veteran edge rusher, or one of those positions, then that leaves your draft board kind of free, where you can say, okay, we already nailed on these positions. Best, depending on what the money market look like, depending on what, and I'm gonna tell this, everyone keeps talking about money. One thing people don't take into consideration as a factor is medical evals. So depending on what the medical evals look like when they do the physicals for potential teams, that plays a factor into a player getting signed in free agency or a trade, whatever, however we move in that position. So once all those boxes are checked and the contract is signed, and then you say, okay, we already nailed on a linebacker, we did an edge rush, we did a tackle. Now, with the draft, with this 12th pick, because your 12th pick is your BPA. That's your BPA for Dallas. The 20th pick, which was sent to us by Green Bay, that is your trade equity. That's where
we're going to get into that, though.
Yeah, that's where that's your will and deal. That's your will and deal pick. You can, and we're going to talk a little bit about that soon, as far as what to do with that 20th pick.
Really, realistically, BPA is ideal on the first pick for you as a team because of how the board could fall, what you've done in free agency, and then also how things could line up. Because Stephen Jones was in the media here recently talking about that BPA scenario. If you remember when CeeDee Lamb was drafted, Stephen Jones hinted that, they were looking at taking a defensive player at that particular position, but CeeDee Lamb fell at that position, KELZ, and that's why we drafted him in 21, I believe it was, or 20. I can't remember exactly.
You talking about CeeDee Lamb?
CeeDee Lamb, yeah.
He was the COVID draft. That was 2020.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because Jerry did draft him from his yacht. That's right. That's when Jerry had a look.
Yeah, he definitely fell because I had CeeDee Lamb going in the top 5. And
that's why they took him, because they couldn't believe he failed there. And then that was the BPA. And I want to throw this to Bob. So when you hear BPA, what does that mean to you in all your years of knowledge with this team?
That, what that normally means? It means that some people are pissed off because nobody wants BPA. Everybody wants their guy. Everybody wants the guy that they've been watching in college this whole entire offseason, or their 3 guys. They want that to be their guy. The problem is this: your guy is a lot of other teams' guys. So once you think you've got that guy who's falling to your 12th spot, all of a sudden somebody swings up and trades to get that 11th pick, and your guy is gone, and you're sitting there with the 12th pick with a guy that you don't want, then you've got to go for the best player available. So why not try and focus on that from the beginning? That's the only variable that you can control, is the fact that they're the best player available is who you're going to go for. If you're going and keying on one particular person, you're almost always going to be really disappointed, because if it's good enough for you to want the player, then another team is going to try and get that person too. So BPA often also triggers our fan base in particular, because like I said, they have a notion of who they think should go there. I think Reuben Baines should be a Dallas Cowboy, but I love Hurricanes going to Dallas. I'm old school 90s like that. But everybody wants their guy to go, and it just doesn't work out that way all the time. Sometimes they hit on your guy, or your guy's who they trade for. But yeah, BPA's it's tough for a fan to get their head around, because they have such a selective idea of who they want on there. But coaches, you got to be BPA, man, because if your guy gets picked, better be the next dude up.
And let me Kellenize that for you.
Oh, hold on. It also better not be a tight end from Michigan. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Did she just say Kellen? It was Kellen. What did you say?
Nobody from Michigan. How about that? Nobody from Michigan. But let me Kellenize what you just said. That BPA can either be a damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right. For sure.
And with
that means you're taking somebody or not taking somebody. But again, that's also based on what your opinion might be too. Because whether the grade is a grade but you can only us as a person can say, oh, that was a stupid idea or that was a good idea.
Or like drafting offensive linemen at pick 12 in round 1, right? That's something that Dallas should do. But KELZ, moving right along, you said it does, we have some money situations, which we'll get more into depth with that as we cover the BPA. But if you're just tapping in on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or YouTube, let us know when you hear BPA, what does that mean in your terms? We want to get some general, some different perspectives here. I'm happy that both of you shared that, because I generally thought BPA was every round. Like, okay, we got the 20th pick and we're getting ready to pick who's the BPA and then who do we need at that particular round. But KELZ broke it down. Mainly it's at pick 12 on the first round, because all of the free agency work that goes into it, which leads me to this, KELZ. You say, what is the draft capital minimum?
And let me add to that. So your BPA is normally in your first round, but it's very heavily in the fourth round, because that fourth round is like the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
That fourth round, that's where you be.
Is that because of based on how the drafts, like we've talked last year, it was packed with, I don't know, whatever position it was. This year, we know it's not packed in quarterbacks. So does that have anything to do with how the draft stacks up with what positions are there mainly the most, or no?
Right. Because one thing that I have noticed, like not only with the Cowboys, but just with teams in general, last year's draft was a doozy. That's the best way I could say it, because there were a lot of players that should have been first and early second round picks. And if you don't, the other terminology for that is also a draft grade. So if you hear a lot of people talk about draft grade, that's another way of saying that they are a higher first round, a mid-tier.
Yeah, they grade the picks like they gave Will McClay, I think a few years ago, a C+ or something.
Well, no, not that. The draft grade is based on the player. So let's just say
the actual individual player,
like Tyler Booker. Tyler Booker, even though, and even I said it, I was like, oh, we drafted Tyler Booker kind of high. Like we could have got him in the second round, but he was a lower tier first round draft pick. So he could have been picked up at like pick 28, whoever had pick 28. So last year, there were a lot of players that should have been a first draft graded player to go quickly off the board. They didn't go into like the second round, the third round. A lot of them left off the board in the fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh round. And we're talking about like first grade talent that went lower.
Right. Well, Tyler Booker hit though, because I mean they said he was a hit across our good PFF grades and all that stuff, Bob. So maybe I shouldn't talk as bad about the establishment draft and alignment.
And let me add to that too.
He was a good one.
The reason why we drafted Tyler Booker the way we did, because last year, because I had to talk to some people. I'm like, okay, y'all said, the first two rounds we're going running back, wide receiver. So what happened?
Offensive lineman, and there wasn't no running back or wide receiver.
The reason why we got Tyler Booker when in last year's draft, because nobody was expecting for Zach Martin to retire. So the whole draft board, and that's something else a lot of people have to look at, because you're going to have a lot of players that may decide between now until the new league year start to say, you know what? I want to retire. I want to sit back, enjoy the rest of my, life while I still got the use of my legs. I got my, my mind is still intact. I have kids. I want to see them grow up. I want to take them to school. I want to be in the carpool lane, all that other stuff. And then here comes the draft. So your whole draft board will switch. That's what happened with Dallas last year. Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not even about BPA. It's about, MNA, which is, most necessary available. Whatever you've got to get, you got to get. And again, the other part of this is not, you can't just go in there with best available being your horse blinders. You've got to be able to go and get somebody too. So you moving up and giving your draft pick to somebody else so that you can move up, That's another part of it. It's not BPA. It's going and getting who you want. So you don't have to worry about BPA. So there's more facets in a draft than just BPA, obviously.
Yeah.
But at some point or another, like when you start getting to those weird money rounds, like third and fourth, that's when you got to be BPA, because those
like
guys
what KELZ said, around the fourth round is a sweet spot.
For real, yeah. You can make or break a draft with those picks, because you don't want to waste those. Those are huge.
All right, Eric Taylor tapping in on Facebook. Shout out to Eric Taylor, Built Different Group supporter. Says best player available to me means overall out of the remaining prospects, this guy's the best, but you have to decide when your pick is called. Do you need over BPA, or is the BPA one of your other needs? Great point there.
Yeah, I mean, you could look at it from that that talent standpoint too, but even like I said, let me take Ryan Flournoy, for example. He was drafted in the 6th round. He should have been off the board by the 4th round by any team, because he's not only he's a wideout, but he's also good on special teams.
Yeah, they compared him to like a big body like a Dez.
Oh, and he has a big body.
Good catch, wide catch radius like Dez and all that. We've seen him come on and up last year. But let's I don't want to get too far off on the soapbox here as we talk about BPA. Let us know in the comments below what BPA means to you. If you have questions about BPA or anything about the draft process, this is a learning show. We're learning on the fly. KELZ is offering up some great intels here, which her second question she posted. It's time for some draft 101. And what is the draft capital minimum to enter the draft? What, you got to have money to go into the draft, KELZ?
Yep, you got to have money, because how you expect to do these contracts with these rookies and
Jerry got plenty of money, though. He got a whole pocket full of ones. He
ready to give Will.
He ready to give Will and tell him go to Dollar General and make it enough, Craig.
Make it enough.
Yeah, I think that's going to work.
But talk about this money to get into the actual draft. Explain that a little bit more for everybody, KELZ.
Okay, so in order for any team to enter the draft, you have to have money. So that's where the salary cap comes in. That's where the overall, whatever the overflow from the previous season will take effect. Also, if you have a couple of players that have a restructuring clause in their contract. We know there's 2 for certain that have a restructuring clause in their contract. It's already automatically built in.
Talk about Dak and CD.
But there is another one. There is another player that has a automatic built-in restructuring contract. Restructuring clause in their contract. I have to look up that player. And one thing, like some of these contracts is basically public record once it has been signed, notarized by the proper protocol and logistics and all that stuff, then you can find this stuff online. So
we got over the cap up here as you see the total numbers, which got Dallas at negative, or actually, it looks like in the red at 29 million. So, but I've heard you say several times that the Cowboys will have the capital needed to go into this draft, because it's going to take about roughly 15 mil to pay the draft, to pay these draftees.
15 million. Each team has to enter the draft with $15 million.
What happens if you don't have it? I mean, do they give you a pass, or how does that work?
They better find a way, or they could trade picks in for the following year. So when you look at the team cap space, that negative 29, that is the remaining contracts that is left over. A bulk of that is Terrence Steele. So Terrence Steele is still on contract until 2028 or 2029, but he has 2 years voided to his team, to the team. So what can happen is they can release him and pay out whatever his money will be, which will be he won't get the complete 18 million. I think he would get like 15 million, which is basically like his signing bonus, because the signing bonus was like 15 million. So that's what he would get. So we're really not in no type of dead money cap hell or anything. So what you're seeing now is contracts that are expiring. But we are rolling over roughly $24 million from last season that we didn't use.
Well, Bob, it looks like we got picks, we got money, we got everything. It looks like the perfect storm. You know, everybody say, "Oh, Cowboy fans say that every year. It's your year till it ain't." But I mean, dog, it's in the proofs in the pudding. Picks and money and strategy, new coaching staff, younger coaches. Like, at least we got money to pay our drafts, right? You know, at least we're not negative in the bank.
And again, we could sit down right now and get, you know, we're pretty intelligent Cowboys fans right now. We can sit here and just say, all right, let's build a draft right now. You pick who's going to draft, who Dallas is going to pick on these, and go through all of it. And it's not going to mean shit if we hit free agency and pick up positions for that. So until free agency is really over and we're able to actually say, okay, we've got these guys under contract to fill these gaps in these positions. Now, who are we going to go through for youth? How are we going to get to the draft for youth? That's what we've got to do. So I'm hoping at least we do some of the things in free agency to shore up some of these positions so we don't need to rely on a young kid to jump in and be a starter, because that really doesn't work, especially in a cornerback safety kind of position. My guy who I think we should take is Sonny Styles. I've been yelling about this guy for a while. He didn't really do much against the Hurricanes, which I'm happy to see, but the Hurricanes were a different animal this season. But this linebacker is a monster.
Not that.
I know. I get it. I mean, the first round would be insane for that.
Bob got that. Bob got that U connection going on right there. I think he's got a little affinity for the U.
Well, no, I mean he's from the Ohio State.
Oh, Ohio State. My bad.
Yeah,
but you mentioned somebody earlier.
And I know we're going to talk about linebackers. Is it
next week, I believe. Yeah, we'll get into that here.
Yeah.
If we get the free agency and we don't have to hit it, then that's fine. You know, then it goes.
My thing is, I will be okay with drafting a Sonny Styles if we had a real good veteran linebacker present in the group. I mean, yeah, Demo would be perfect, but Demo don't have a lot of skins on the wall because he has been injured his first 2 years with us. So drafting a linebacker at 12, that's just saying, because and here's the one thing that people got to look at too, like with these first round draft picks. Regardless of the team, your first round draft pick, you automatically have a spot on the 53-man roster. So this time we have 2 first round picks. We're going to have 2 automatic spots on the 53-man roster for this season. So drafting a linebacker in the first round, you're basically telling them you are the end all and be all between the first level, which is your interior, and your third level, which is your secondary. That is a lot to put on somebody that is coming in fresh off the gate. And we don't have, like I said, we don't have a veteran linebacker. Now, if you address that in free agency, then bring Sonny Styles in.
Yeah,
I see your point there. That's a valid point.
It's very hard to do that at 12 too, if I'm being honest. I think maybe if we're talking second round and he's still there from some reason, then we can. It's genius to do it, but honestly, I see us more realistically taking like Bailey or another edge rusher or something with that pick before we take a linebacker. That number seems to be something you want to pick like a superstar position in, and that could be a wide receiver, defensive end, edge rusher kind of thing. I don't know, but I don't know if it'll be a linebacker. So I'm just hoping it gets home.
That's great. That's a great point. But let me ask you this, KELZ. So every draft, there's always a position that's deep. We know it's not quarterback this year, which the Cowboys might draft the quarterback. So stay tuned. That's going to be on our last episode of Position Predictions. Will the Cowboys draft the quarterback? But what is the deepest position in this current draft class? First, as I get ready to pull up these tools, are we clear on which position is the deepest in this upcoming draft?
Yeah, I get to drop all the tea now because I've been holding back because the show is back. Okay. So
before you get into that too much, I want to make sure everybody understands. Not only are you going to be able to use us as sounding boards, and also the chat for the community when it comes to this upcoming draft for the Dallas Cowboys is very important. We got a couple of tools that we'd like to share for you too. It's pinned at the top of the post or at the top of the page on Built Different Group. We have a website here that we'll be going by, and also our mock draft simulator that we'll be using. So get familiar with that. You can scroll up at the top as I get my girl KELZ to kick off that intels that she's got for us, Bob. Word is she kind of know who the Cowboys are going after, Bob.
Yeah, the name ain't KELZ with the intels for no reason. It's not like she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. I mean, if you do the math on it, like if you start doing the math against what Rappaport and these guys predicted as opposed to how accurate KELZ is, I think KELZ is going to win that match because they seem to be pulling shit out of the air where she's probably pulling facts out from close sources.
KELZ said, clock the T, Bob. Clock that T. So what you got for us on the intel side, KELZ?
Yeah, because anytime I hear something, you know who I call, like, so
yeah,
what is it? Then I get it. All right, so this draft is a flip from last year's draft. This draft is very heavily saturated on defense.
Oh, man, perfect. We got money, picks, and the defense is deep, Bob.
This is a defensive-minded draft. There's edges, there's tackles, and let me tell you about the defensive tackles. There's a lot of 3 techs, there's a lot of 5 techs. This is what Christian Parker wants. You have linebackers, you have cornerbacks, you have safeties, and then you have some that's good on both ends. They're good on for defense, and they can also flip to special teams. So you have it's a lot of hybrids coming out. There's a lot. Christian Parker, he is going to run a 3-4-5-2 scheme defense, and he's going to have hybrid cornerbacks and safeties. This
is not what he did in Philly. He's not bringing the playbook from Philly over to Dallas, right? He's like reinventing. That was one of the reasons why they were impressed with him coming in on interviews, right, KELZ?
Because let me tell you what he did. If people don't remember Micah's draft class, he is the one that effed us up with no lube because he snatched Patrick Surtain from under us. That is the
he was with Denver before he was with Philly, and remember Denver was very good this year too, so there was a lot of Christian Parker fingerprint on that Denver D.
Right. And let me tell y'all some other news. Yes, because Big Fangio was also with Denver the same time that he was that Christian Parker was there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Big Fangio left, went to Philly, and guess who he put in his backpack? Christian Parker. So Christian Parker designed a lot of plays for both teams. He was the passing game coordinator. This is all that Dallas interviewed except for 2. There was only 9 people that was interviewed. 7 of them were defensive pass game coordinators. So with that being said, Christian Parker went into that interview and said, this is the things that I saw that Dallas has been doing ever since I've been in the league, because he's been in the league for the same amount of time that Dak Prescott was in the league. These are the things that I saw that was going on with Dak Prescott. Out of all the games we play, it don't have to be a Phillies game. It don't have to be a Broncos game. And this is what I saw, and this is how I used it to my advantage. And this is how I'm going to flip it. And guess what? Even though I'm going to come in as the defensive coordinator, I know the teams that you're playing. I'm going to be working with Dak Prescott myself on how to do some of this. And he is also bringing the cover 6 scheme, which I love. I love the cover 6.
KELZ, you did say that we're deep in defense, and I'm sorry, Bob, we'll get to you just a second. But Eric's tapping in and says, isn't Logan Wilson going to be that veteran linebacker? Isn't Logan gone already?
No, I think we still have Logan.
We forgot about that mofo, man.
He was a green dot for like a hot second,
And the thing is, Flus did not use him. It's just like he left from.
So Flus went and got him from Shy, and now we got leftover Flus. Is that what that sounds like?
No, wait a minute. I thought he was with Cincinnati.
He was Cincinnati. Yeah, he was
Cincinnati. Yeah, that's right. Never mind.
Yeah.
I got so many players.
So he left from Cincinnati, and he ended up in the same position in Dallas that he was in.
I feel like he was just a pot sweetener in that deal, in that whole situation. That's all he was a little bit of a like sweetener of the pot. Hey, let's throw in Logan Wilson too.
Yeah, and they did not use him. And I feel sorry for that. But so out of this defensive class, the linebacker class is the deepest and largest in this class.
Bob, and yeah, I don't
So
know,
that
but
just means we don't need to go for him on the first round. You know what I'm saying? That means we could go 2 or 3. And
because there's going to be
probably
a lot there. We can see if maybe one of the guys that KELZ has got a list there, I think, of potential player or prospects that the Cowboys are interested in. Could you give us a few of the names the Cowboys are looking at when it comes to linebacker?
I could give you some names, yes, and the combine is coming up in a couple of weeks. There have been 319 invites to this year's combine. All of them will be there, and the majority of this invite class are linebackers.
I will be at the combine this weekend, so I will be streaming episode 2 live from the combine, not in the combine, but I will be in Indianapolis. I do plan on being at the combine this Saturday to get some more intels to bring it in here for y'all at the show.
Yeah, so I could drop a few names. They are looking at from Georgia, linebacker CJ Allen. He is bringing track and field experience to his skill set. We already talked about Sonny Styles. He's really like Demo. He is actually a safety turned linebacker. So you're going to see if let's say if we get Sonny Styles, he's going to line up mainly with in the middle between the linebackers and in the safety. So more than likely he will be in the backfield with our safeties and corners, and then he'll shoot up to the front with the linebackers. We have another one from Ohio State, Arvell Reese.
Arvell Reese.
Yes. Anthony Hill. Another one that I like from Texas A&M, Torian York. Jake Goldie from Cincinnati. Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech. Harold Perkins Jr. He's red-shirted. I have to look at the invite again, but he was at the Shrine Bowl. Cal Lewis from Pitt. The only thing I can say about Cal Lewis, just think of Shaq Thomas.
All right, as you see, we got NFLDraftBuzz.com. As KELZ mentioned, Arvell Reese, the top-rated linebacker on NFL Draft Buzz. We used this tool last year. That link is down there in the comments below. Bob, what was the name of that guy you were saying out of Ohio State? Sonny Styles, right?
Yeah, right there, up there.
There he goes. So who would you rather have, Arvell Reese, or are they do the same position?
So the reason why I think I would go just based off of talent alone and explosiveness, I'll take Sonny Styles. He's a speedy monster because he was a safety. But the situation pairing him up with another guy like Overshown, who is another hybrid sort of safety / linebacker. Look, the more you know, the more positions you know in your position, the better a player you're going to be. It does not matter who you are. If you are a defensive tackle that knows the linebacker, safety, and corner position, I think you're going to be a pretty damn good defensive tackle. So putting that guy in sort of a hybrid defense that I think we're about to see from our guy from Philly, I think it's just a smart thing. Now, can we put sort of a regular meat and potatoes linebacker back there with him and be okay? Probably, but Sonny Styles is a hustler. He moves. He's a different kind of guy, and I like that kind of guy. We chose that kind of guy in Micah Parsons. And we need to get that kind of guy back, at least some kind of guy that gives that vibe. And I think Styles will do that more than our other guy.
Yeah, let me answer B-Bird's question about Jeremiah at 20. I mean, I would be okay with it if running back is a need. And right now it's not. We have put a lot of resources into our offense. This year, a lot of the resources is going into our defense because that's where it's at. And
yeah, that's where we need the most help. I mean, we had the number 2 offense in the league.
Right. Yeah. And I think Jeremiah Love, he's going to go before it even hits 12. I think he's going to be early on. I do know that there are some teams that's before us. Oh, let me pull the draft roster up. There is a team that will need a running back. And they're before us, so I could see him going.
What's crazy also, I want to point out too, Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles, both from OSU, are both 6'4", 243.
Yeah.
Damn.
They're both the same size. It's insane what they've got going on over there.
As we're
And they're
talking
both
about
entering.
I'm sorry, Bob. I know I want to make sure we get all this information in there. So it's a lot here. We're on episode 1. We're trying to set the stage for week 2. We're going to have a special guest to come on. He's a creator for the Cowboys content world here on Facebook to talk about linebackers. But KELZ, with our current linebackers right now, who is the green dot? Do we have one or not?
Right now, it's still Logan Wilson.
Still Logan? Okay. So not like if we went linebacker round 1, which I know you discouraged and said because of all of that may put on a linebacker. Is there any linebacker currently in this draft that could come in day 1 at pick 12 for the Cowboys and make it do what it do?
Yeah, we talked about them. Sonny Styles, Arvell, Reese, Torian, York.
Yeah, so those top 3 that was on there. Okay, so those guys could lace it up and come out. And because, I mean, I'm not too confident with Logan at the green dot, Bob. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
We get to see him now during a whole preseason though, so at least we can evaluate during this whole time.
Good point.
And you can't say that you can't have confidence in him if he wasn't utilized.
We didn't do shit.
He was utilized on a team that we could have just won with our eyes closed, and that was the Las Vegas Raiders. That's where you saw him in the green, with the green dot on his helmet. And then Flus he went back to his Flus ways of this season, and he put Kenneth Murray back as the green dot.
Well, you did send me some more intel, KELZ, as we get into these picks, and just so we're all on the same page here as we kick off the BPA episode 1 foundation. You shared these picks here with us. Now, don't count the number like I did, because the nuns means there's none. So there's a total of 8 picks there, KELZ. That's our current draft order, right? Unless we get down into round 1, pick 20. And, everybody is talking about now the general consensus. I don't know, it's just me, but I see it everywhere. KELZ, at 20, we're going to trade back so we could get a 9th pick, maybe get 9 bodies out of this draft versus 8.
Or more.
Y'all let us know in the comments down below. Are you wanting to take another defender at pick 12 because we're so deep in this draft at linebacker? Or, do the Cowboys trade that pick and get another pick?
Yeah, I've always been the one that, especially when I know there's a need. So, like as far as trading out completely out of a first round, I don't mind like trading back. So this is another thing as well. A lot of these draft picks are on like a point system. So and like I said, this is the first time in years where we had both draft capital and draft equity. But when not draft equity, I'm sorry, trade equity, draft capital.
Yeah, and trade equity. We got some good picks where we could deal with to get some more.
Right. So now with the trade equity, that's where the points system comes into play. Do we have enough point systems? Yes, but do we have enough point systems to trade out of the 12th to go to a higher number? No, because that team is going to be asking a lot, and we don't have that right now. So,
Bob, how you feeling about possibly, we got KELZ inputs here before we get to this mock draft simulator and some more of KELZ's intels. How are you feeling that the Cowboys would go and trade back? Because we're going to do a mock draft to see what the BPA scenario looks like before we get out of here. Bob, how are you feeling about if the Cowboys were to trade back at 20?
So theoretically, if we are sitting at 20 and we decide to move that pick off let's just say to the second round, then that means we won't have a pick from 12 to 35 or something, 36, right? Isn't that what it is?
32.
32, sorry. And if that's the case, that's a whole lot of players going during that time. That's something that you're going to have to calculate. And then you're going to have to say to yourself, why did you move out? And if so, who do you think the BPA is in the second round as opposed to the 20th round, the 20th pick in the first round? So it can be a little convoluted. I think the only way that happens is if Dallas has their eye on somebody that they think is going to drop to 20, and it turns out they don't drop to 20, they get picked at 17, 18, 19. Then Dallas says, all right, fine. Seattle, you wanted this guy that's going to be available at 20. Cool. Give me your 27th 27th in the first and something late in the second or third, and then we can start talking. So I don't know. I think honestly, if we did all of this to wheel and deal and get these picks, then we should use them for good things. And to be able to have 2 picks in the first round, I think you've got to choose 2 players in the first round if you have 2 picks in the first round. That's what I'd rather see. It's just the chances of going wrong. I mean, if it goes wrong, that's really, really crazy. But you got 2 guys you're picking in the first round, probably both on defense. I don't see how that can be a bad thing for us in any way.
Yeah, and to add on it, I'm trying to pull up.
Well, it's not like just throwing
2.
us in the fire. And let's see what happens as we got a mock draft simulator going underway.
Oh shit!
This is one of the tools that we're going to be using, and Dallas is up on the board. And no,
Who do we get?
We're not going to do any trades, but here are the BPA list here after 11 picks. Carnell Tate,
baby.
Caleb Downs, safety at Ohio State. Cornerback Mansour Delane. Sonny Styles available. Look at these names that are available. This is a mock draft. So I don't know. KELZ, any more intels, or are we going to just dive into this mock draft?
Mock it, man.
I'm going to tell y'all right now.
Shit.
Yeah, I knew I could get her distracted if I threw her that draft simulator, Bob.
Number 12. I would rather take that Mansour Delane. Give me.
Y'all let us know in the comments below. Who would you take?
I'll take him.
KELZ got Mansour Delane. I think Bob's got Sonny Styles, right?
Yeah.
I'd love to get it. I'd love to get Sonny Styles. That'd be great.
I'm trying to find the round 2 draft order because I'm gonna tell you right now, the back end of this Jets trade, when we got Quinny and Williams, and we should have gotten more out of the Michael Parsons trade, because right now it's costing us this day 2 in the draft, and depending on what we do with GP3, that's someone that we haven't talked about. If we tag and trade him, we will lose the 2027 third round compensatory pick. If we do a trade and tag, if we just release him, then we will still keep the 2027 third compensatory pick.
Okay.
So this second and this day 2 is really costing us from the back end of the Jets trade and the Michael Parsons trade. If we were to will and deal this 20th pick, I would trade with Buffalo Bills. I think they have 26 in the draft. I would trade that pick to them because I know they need some players that they need to address in the first round. And we could either get their second round pick. I forgot what number they are in second round, but I do know in the third round they're number 91. So that's how we could get back in day 2.
Let me ask you this question, KELZ, because it's going around. We're going to hear, it's this time of year, Bob, we're going to hear everybody's getting traded to Dallas. Everybody's getting traded away from Dallas. But I want to ask my girl KELZ this. Is there any smoke on the Max Crosby from the Raiders to the Cowboys? Because, boy, I'm telling you, everybody posting, what would you give up? What would you trade for him? He's from that area. I mean, is there any possibility? What are you hearing on your intels?
So I'm going to tell y'all right now, this is not a good trade. It's not a good trade because, one, it's going to be a spectacle. I'm not going to get on that part of why it's going to be a spectacle.
But, I mean, financially, is it possible for the Cowboys to get in bed?
No, financially, no, because we're talking about giving up at least one of our first round picks for this year, and that first round pick for 2027, the Jets have our first round pick in ransom. Is being held in ransom. It's going to take a lot more, and plus we're going to have to. Because he's still under contract until 2028 or 2029. So we will have to eat up the rest of his contract, which is going to mess with our salary cap. It is not no.
So don't drink the Max Crosby Kool-Aid. If I understand you, that's kind of what it sounds like to me, Bob. Don't drink the Max Crosby Kool-Aid.
I'd rather go after Trey Hendrickson. Somebody in that.
Cincinnati came out like 4 hours before the Super Bowl and said that they were going to franchise tag him.
Yeah, but I just mean someone on that sort of pay level.
Gotcha.
Who's like, not going to be 20 million, maybe 12 or something, and then still try and go to the draft. You know what I mean? Like, if we have such a heavy defensive draft right now, I think really if we're going to go free agency, then we're only going to do it to fill a star in a gap, so that we don't have to go to a young person to do it. And I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, I'd love to see it happen, but if I'm being honest, I really feel more heartfelt about us getting Pickens and Javonte Williams back on this team than I do even thinking about trying to get a free agent.
Yeah,
funny you say George Pickens, because we got a little trade dilemma of our own going around. A lot of Cowboy fans, KELZ, are saying tag GP and trading for more picks.
I just said that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I just said that because if we were to tag and trade him, we will lose the 2027 third round compensatory pick.
Thank you for clarification. I did ask that as a rhetorical question because Cowboy fans need to understand Cowboys not finna get rid of, and that's FITNA, finna get rid of GP3, Bob. Right. I mean, I
do have a question to what Bob just said. So let's just say if we do get something like the likes of a Trey Hendrickson. I mean, I can say his name now because his contract has expired. And Matt Crosby. They play on the same side as Demo. So would you have one of them, like a skill set like them, and you will sit Demo out? Because, I mean, Demo, he does make an impact when he's healthy, when he's on the field,
Right.
Yeah.
So.
And he wasn't getting hurt after being on the field a lot either. He was getting hurt after not being on the field a whole hell of a lot. So
yeah,
that's the scary thing about it.
Yeah.
So I just want to know who we taking at pick 12 as we talk about BPA on this episode. KELZ says Mansour Delane. Everybody in the chat saying Sonny Styles. Bob is saying Sonny Styles. I have no dog in the fight because I don't watch college football, but I'm all about drafting somebody that's going to impact at pick 12 in round 1 right off the gate. So let us know in that comments below. I don't know, KELZ, you changed your mind? Or you still riding hard on Mansour Delane?
I want us to go secondary and with pick
I'll take
12.
that. I'll take it.
And
Mansour Delane is 6 foot tall, 190. I think it's like a 4.5 or 4.4 40. But he's really good in coverage. So that's what we need, man. I mean, yeah.
Right, well, we took Mansour Delane and
I will take Mansour Delane out of. I mean, it's a lot of cornerbacks.
Look at this. Hey, after we get to pick 20, look who's available at linebacker. Sonny Styles after we drafted Mansour Delane.
But see,
that's something.
But I think with Sonny Styles, let's say if we had a second round pick, he will still be there by the time we pick in. Because I think even though he's a first grade talent, the way that this draft is, especially with defense, a lot of these players will still be on the board by like day 2. But
probably
that's what I'm saying. We don't have a date. We have to find a way to get into day 2. Now, if he's there at 20, get Sonny Styles at 20. If we decide to stick,
so imagine that would be no trade. So is there no trading back in that scenario, Bob? If your guy is there at 20, or are we going to go back and get a ninth guy and pass up Sonny Styles?
Listen, we heard Jerry say 2 things. We heard Jerry say, we've got 2 picks in the first round now, so we can go ahead and do what we got to do in the first round. And he also said we got 2 picks that we can wheel and deal with. So we don't know exactly what the hell he's going to do.
He ain't really said a whole lot, to you be true.
Right. I'm hoping that we just go and get those damn picks and just take them.
I'm going to tell you right now, the reason why he ain't saying a lot, because this is just a repeat of what happened last year. Did you see a lot of Jerry Jones last year doing the whole hello?
Yeah, I'm just glad we're not hitting all in. I like bust the budget better than all in. Yeah, bust the budget on GP3, tag or pay him 1 of the 3. We got to have that guy on this offense next year. I heard somebody say, KELZ, that Dak can make a wide receiver like Ryan Flanoy look good. So just trade George Pickens.
Bro, George Pickens on this team is insane. And he's already got a season with us. Man, look, it's gonna be even more dangerous next season. What do you can't just prepare for two wide receivers like that and be like, all right, that's we're gonna lock one of them down. It doesn't work like that. He's absolutely a threat. And if we F around and keep Javonte on this team, it's gonna be a wrap, because I already know this defense is gonna be at least 16th place instead of 32, just off of the personnel.
We're in the middle of the pack. We talking about the playoffs, baby.
Now, since Javonte Williams is the subject right now, his contract negotiations are temporary.
He just changed. Didn't he just get a new agent?
He does. I haven't heard anything as far as.
I heard he got a new agent recently. I thought that was
so. That must have happened recently, because as of yesterday, he didn't have an agent, and they were planning. They were hoping for him to have an agent.
Oh, okay. So he hasn't got a new one. I knew he got rid of his other one. That's what I heard. That he was replacing his agent.
So contract negotiations are suspended until he has a new agent right now. So I don't know who that's going to be.
Well, Eric, I hear what you're saying about not tagging GP, but I just don't know if the money. I don't know if that money situation is. It obviously is better for us to say, okay, look, let's stretch you over a few years, but that also, once we start getting into that conversation, I think we start letting other people come in and get a chance at getting him. I don't think we want to do that. I think tagging him at the very least is showing him, look, we don't want you going anywhere.
Hey man,
we just don't want to.
So here's my thing.
Do we want the Mulugeta smoke? That's the real question.
Yeah.
So here's my thing about it, and this is one thing that people always need to remember. The agent works for the player, not the other way around. So if George Pickens say, I'm cool, if this is what they're going to give me, if you're talking about $30 million a year, but they're only offering me 26, even though, let's just say, like, that's the team friendly deal. If he's cool, if he's not all about money and everything, if he's cool with 26, then he has to make that happen. And that's why David Mulugeta, he's a great agent, but the agent works for the player. So whatever the player says, go. So if you don't like that, you could kick rocks. And he had a lot of rocks to kick because a lot of players have fired him.
Now, KELZ, when is that tag deadline again? Because, like I know and Bob knows, we're going to hear all about GP being traded and what the Cowboys should pay him and all this, that, and the other. When is it? We know that the Cowboys are going to tag him by this date. Is it March 11th?
So the franchise tag window for exclusive or non-exclusive, which is also known as transitional tags, that designated window opens February 17th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it closes on February 28th, where they can solicit the tag, but they cannot sign the tag until March 11th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that deadline ends July 15th.
So it could happen before then, but y'all know, like we know, it's not going to probably happen until the 24th hour. But Paul is tapping in. I love this energy, KELZ. It says, Jerry about to make this offseason exciting. Just wait, I can feel it. Anybody else feel that way?
I want him to be as mute as possible, like he was last year. Let Steven, Shoddy, and Will McClay do what they do this year like they did last year. That's all I ask.
Bob? Call security. Get Jerry security. Don't let him on the mic. Security.
No, man. I don't want to hear anything from him. But we never really do. I don't know if there's any Cowboys fan that's like, I love hearing from this guy. It just doesn't work that way. There's nobody saying that shit.
I do. I like it because I want to soundbite him. But
that's exactly right. It's entertainment is different than information. Yeah. He's not throwing information at us. He's throwing speculation every time he talks. So I'd rather hear from Steven and even Jerry Jr. if I'm being honest. Talk about this stuff than I would. Yeah, see what I'm saying?
Now, Jerry Jr. making sure the merchandise is.
Yeah, Jerry got the merch on lock.
But I don't want to hear anything from him. Like I said, I think McClay is really the mastermind here, and we're going to have good input from Shoddy, and I think he's going to take into account on defense what our defensive coordinator is going to want to build. So I think this is really exciting because, again, We spoke about this, and I said it almost every big three last season. It was a rebuilding year. We did pretty damn good offensively for a rebuilding year. It didn't really affect us too much. We added and did all these things, and now we added even more in the offseason just by what we've done with our personnel, and hopefully making sure that the draft and everything gets solidified. Free agency, we could really be a damn good team. So, I think taking everything into account, what we've lost, even in terms of, just DeMarcus Lawrence, we can go back that far. We can talk about Micah. We can talk about coaches, all these things. We're going into next season pretty freaking loaded. And I think if we make some right decisions, we can be right there and get that NFC East championship next season.
Yeah, and the thing, and when you look at it, we're not that far away. It's just, on paper, we're so close, but it just has to translate on the field. Yeah. That has been our Achilles heel over the past few years.
Yeah, we've had good squads.
A lot of checks going into this draft. A lot of checks in the block going into this draft. Money, picks, trade capital, all of that. New coaching staff, younger, new scheme, all this type of stuff. So somebody said it below. There's a lot of optimism out there.
And here's one fun fact with this draft. There's going to be a lot. They're using the term geriatric. There's a lot of old players that's entering this draft. I think the oldest, by the time the draft hits, he will just turn 25.
Damn.
So we're going to have a lot of 25s and a lot of 26 of this year's draft.
Well, I'm excited because we've got a winner among us. I haven't seen her in the chat, but last year's winner of position predictions. That's right. This is the first of 10 episodes. Next week, we got a special guest coming up, KC of Smack Talk, to come up and talk about linebackers. So we're going to focus specifically on linebackers. We're going to look at the top linebackers that are available, break them down. We're going to get some different input with some different faces here. I'm excited about that. But shout out to my girl Prototype, who won our first position predictions competition. Now the Cowboys have 8 draft picks. Can you pick the exact number of running backs, wide receivers, linebackers, cornerbacks, all of that? Sarah won that competition. So we're inviting y'all to come and win this competition here this year. This is the position prediction show to help you get ready. We're going to be live here every Sunday leading up to the last Sunday right before the NFL draft, and then you'll be able to submit your predictions. So thank you for everybody donating stars. We see Charlie with some stars coming in. Thank you, Sterling. Appreciate y'all supporting the content. All the green badges tapping in, because we got linebackers to cover first up next week, KELZ.
Yeah, that's
Sonny Styles, baby.
Yeah.
That's
a lot of people want Sonny Styles.
That's the deepest draft. The deepest class out of this draft, and it is some good ones. I see. If we don't get a linebacker like Sonny Styles or
hey, look, Arvell Reese is probably just as good as Sonny Styles. They're just they just play differently. He's rated a little.
So Eric, here's my thing with Nakobe Dean. I like Nakobe Dean. I would not be surprised once the free agency hits that Christian Parker will bring some of his players either from the Broncos or I think he has a couple that's still with the Packers, because he was with the Packers as well. I think he's still got a couple of Packers that's still floating that will be free agents this year, even the ones from Philly. My thing with Nakobe Dean, and this is not what Shotty wants. The Shotty said at the end of the season presser in free agency, he does not want players with the medical eval that they
somebody asked that in the question earlier. Can we just draft healthy players?
Yeah.
No more projects like Jaden Smith. Yeah. No shade. Shout out to Swipe.
Shotty said he said he'll be okay if the medical eval said, "Oh, I broke a fingernail." He's okay with that. But if it's any major ones, then he's not for it.
Like a Savon Revel, even though our doctors did the work on it and all of that stuff. No Savon Revel type scenario.
The thing is, they pushed Savon Revel out. He should have been redshirted in 2025. And this season would have been the year for him to come out.
We're still going to get a full camp this year off that injury comeback. So hopefully we see him pay some dividends, because without that injury last year, he was clearly a top first round pick coming out of that secondary.
He was. And then with I know he don't want to draft secondary, and as far as not draft, I know he don't want to get a free agent secondary player, because one thing about that position, anything like ACLs or what's their that the foot fracture and the one that
the Liz Frank,
yeah that those positions, you really need your feet, and if you like, you have to have healthy feet, so I know Shotty is not going to go in free agency. So, let me get a player. Yeah, he had a Liz Frank. He had a stress fracture on his foot, or he had that Shotty doesn't.
That's refreshing to hear, because can we just get all healthy now? After the fact, that's something totally different, but at least coming in the door, right, Bob? Can we get a good, clean bill of health?
Yeah, that's all we need. Please just start fresh the right way, and let's not bargain bin these I mean, we gotta be right. If we gotta go premium, let's go premium. No more 25-cent bin players that have been hurt and beaten down, and they're at the end of their line. We need to be the team that picks up.
We
players
need someone like still in their prime. That's still in their prime. They, I can't.
Quentin Williams, George Pickens. I mean, we did do some damn good additions with that kind of stuff. So I think we should just keep it rolling into this offseason.
We'll keep it rolling going into next week. We got KC of Smack Talk. You may have seen him on Facebook. You can check him out at Smack Talk Network. He's going to be joining us first time on Build Different Group. He's also been heavy in the comments, supporting and sharing the content here on Build Different Group. We're going to offer him to come up on here and give us his input about these linebackers. It's going to be interesting to hear some different perspective from some other creators that are out there. We got some other special guests already coming up. I know your girl just confirmed over there. Shout out to Cowboys, Nikki, right? Cowboys Nikki will be joining us. We're going to have Mike Poland from the UK join us. You're also going to have a couple, Eric Serrato, you may have seen down there, affiliate of Can Fan, the Cowboys Can Fan podcast out of Canada. He's located in LA, but KC is going to come up next week, so join us back here this time next week.
And I've been trying to send some messages, because there are 3 Cowboy friends that live in Rio de Janeiro.
I gotta get my passport updated. Or was you alluding at the beginning of the show that the Cowboys could open up in Brazil?
I kind of knew that.
Man, that would be a bad. It only makes sense, right? Jerry said he got business.
I've heard that a couple
Jerry said
ways.
he got business in Brazil, Bob. He said he ain't fucking around. He got business over there.
But he mentioned that when the what was it, 2 years ago? Because that's when they started playing in Sao Paulo.
I know everybody south of the border kills. They got. I was banking it was Mexico, but boy, Brazil came out of nowhere. I was just thinking Mexico was in there, but no. But no, Mexico.
I'm trying to think, because I think when they played Brazil this past season, was that a Thursday or a Sunday game? I could not remember, but I know when they first kicked off in Brazil, that was a Thursday game, and that was between the Super Bowl teams, Kansas City and Philly, or was it Green Bay? I can't remember, but anyway, I'm wondering if that's going to be a Thursday game.
You literally got to have a passport, Bob, to keep up with the Joneses. I mean, I looked at flights from Seattle to Brazil. It's like $1,300.
Yeah, Jerry stimulates economies. Jerry does very good things for a bunch of different people.
Like $1,300 for the flight, Jerry. That ain't even the ticket, man.
Right. So I'm thinking this game is either going to be in sometime in October or November, because I know they extended like the first 2 weeks in November. That's when like the last
So does that game count as a home or away game, or we're not going to know until the schedule?
That's going to be a home game.
Okay, so it won't be Seattle then. If they open up in Brazil, because we play Seattle on the road.
No, Seattle is kicking off the season Thursday. That's what I'm saying. So they started moving like the international games like the end of September to like maybe that first or second.
So that Brazil game could be later on in the season.
In the season. So when I looked at it, even from here to Brazil, let's say if I leave like on a Wednesday, let's say if the game is on a Sunday, if I leave like Wednesday, I will get to Brazil like early Thursday morning.
Yeah, it's a big time change.
Yeah, and it's a layover.
That's a long way.
So from Reagan to Rio, and if I leave on a Wednesday, it was actually cheaper for me to leave on a Wednesday because the round trip ticket was like $538. Now, had I left on like a Thursday or Friday, then that would have went up like $300 more.
Got to have a passport to keep up with the Joneses, man. That's the new. I don't have a passport yet. I got to go get mine because I'm looking at Brazil. And if y'all see a GoFundMe come up on my social media profile, don't ask me no questions because them tickets is $1,300. But y'all know y'all would get that exclusive content right here on Build Different Group. I don't know. We'll learn more in May when that schedule comes out because we'll be circling the dates then. But I want y'all to circle the date next week on Sunday. We got a special guest coming up to join us. Like we said, KC of Smat Talk. Make sure and join us next week this time, linebackers. That's all we're talking about next week is linebackers, the whole show. Then we're going to do another live draft mock simulator. As you've seen here tonight, first round we took Delane Mansour. What was his name again, KELZ?
Mansour
Delane. There we go. Mansour Delane, cornerback. And then we got Sonny Styles is right there at 20. So some crazier things are happening between now and then. But we appreciate you joining us here tonight to kick off the Big Three on PP 2.0, Bob.
And if you're in New Orleans, happy Mardi Gras.
Woo. Yeah, it is Mardi Gras at that time, huh? I've never been to Mardi Gras. You been to Mardi Gras before, Bob?
No, only in Austin.
Yeah, I've never been to Mardi Gras. I've been down there, but I've never been to the Mardi Gras. You been to Mardi Gras, KELZ?
Nah, it's New Orleans is still on my bucket list, and I was planning on going to the Mardi Gras festival in DC at the Wharf, but when I looked at the date, it was today. I said, yeah, I can't do that one.
Well, we're going to wrap it up here. It's been over an hour strong. We appreciate everybody tuning in on all three channels. It's been the Big Three to kick off Position Predictions 2.0. All the links are in the comments. And make sure y'all come back and join us next week because we're going to be talking about linebackers, y'all. We need defense at pick 12. So come and join us. And we'll see y'all then. Because when Danny Don gets around that light switch, it's time to go. We'll see y'all on the next episode.
Turn out the lights. The party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night. The party's over. And tomorrow and next year starts the same old thing again.
We got it.